Hey population, it's KWAC here. Welcome to the first installment of our latest feature here at PanelsOnPages.com. You and I have got a display date. Display date is a new video featurette designed to help make sure that your nerdy knickknacks and counterculture collectibles really pop on your shelves. So where do we start? Vision. And I'm not talking about Marvel's Avenging Android here. I'm talking about having a clear-cut idea of how you want your display to look when you're done. No random mishmash of action figures. That's a fine fix for a limited amount of space, and we'll address that in a future installment. But what we're talking about here is having a toy line, a particular team, or maybe a more specific idea that you're going to let mold and shape your display and make it really stand out from the rest. That's vision. I've got a lot of shelf space in my apartment, and most of it's spoken for. But I do have the printer shelf to my computer desk that's fairly bare so far. Just the other day, I had a vision for it. This is now my shelf for arch enemies and their greatest battles. Batman and Bane, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. They're different groups of characters from different toy lines. They're even in different scales. But because this shelf is going to be dedicated to just arch enemies and their greatest battles, it will create a singular vision that will really help tie the display together. The last shelf is a little rough right now because it's still pretty bare. Once I start to get some more figures on there, I'll try to distribute them based on scale, give it a more even and balanced look. But that's just one way to display, one type of vision. Maybe you've got a toy line or team that you want on display. Here we see some mini-mates. Alright, a lot of mini-mates. But they're grouped mostly by team or by era. Except for this bottom shelf, it's a little bit of both. What you're seeing on the left are the 90s Avengers. Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and Hulk, flanked by some of the old standbys. Over here on the right-hand side of the shelf, you have a more modern take on the Avengers, but you've still got the same key characters, Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, now with Red Hulk. The rest of the team is filled out with recent additions like Wolverine, Daredevil, and the Winter Soldier. But to divide the team from old and new are their greatest villains. Classic villains like Ultron and Kang are on the left. On the right, we have more modern villains, like Norman Osborn and some of the Thunderbolts. But square in the middle, two of the Avengers' greatest enemies, the two men that tore the team apart during the Civil War, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. Vision's not just all about figures. It can apply to art, too. Here we have 3 pop-inspired prints, a corner for original artwork, by Charles Paul Wilson III and Mark Brooks, or even a wall of spider art. The bottom line, before you start posing your figures and hanging your art, think about them and what vision you might have for how to really make the most of your collection. This has been our first display date, population. I'll see you soon.